let's start with you. What's your unpopular opinion this week?
Loving your kids deeply doesn't mean that you love all the phases that they go through.
Mm.
Those regressions, girl. The teething, the toddler stage where they're screaming their heads out, the tantrums. No.
You are questioning.
Why did I have kids?
Why?
Were they a must?
Yeah.
Did I need to be a mother?
Look at what my life was before.
Yes.
And now.
Oh.
It's the politics of motherhood.
Welcome to the Politics of Motherhood.
Because everyone has an opinion about motherhood.
I'm Lynette.
And I'm Washuka.
And Washuka, how are you doing today?
I'm good. And how are you?
I'm well. I've missed you.
Same here.
And baby Luca.
Yeah.
Yeah, so nice to see you. Recording day is always fun.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And how are you?
I'm doing well.
Yeah, you shared your story last time.
I did.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm actually feeling lighter somehow. There's something that says, a problem shared is a problem half solved.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like that. Like the people who've reached out, to say, hey, driving here, I had a call with someone who I shared this on my LinkedIn, just kind of trying to explain myself because I've not been responding to people and stuff.
Yeah.
And this person I worked with maybe a couple of years ago reached out, and she was just like, I read your story and I was so touched, and I knew like I just have to call you because I just wanted to hear your voice and hear that you're fine. So people just reaching out kind of reminds you that there's strength in community, and it's really humbling, and I don't take that for granted.
No, that's awesome. That's really good. To have that support is so good.
Exactly.
I think we're also removing the stigma around loss,
and
miscarriages, and
right?
You can actually get support, and that's okay.
And there's nothing.
It's not a
like
taboo.
Support. It's the best thing. And you, how's the going? What's
good. Going is good. Can't complain. I'm out of the 4th trimester. Yay!
How amazing! Congratulations.
Yeah, actually today is 17th, right? So he's turning exactly 3 months. I'm happy to be out of that fog situation.
Happy 3-month birthday, Luca. Are you going to do something?
No,
like parents sometimes do like a 3-month birthday and half a year birthday.
No, please.
No?
In fact, even this time I'm not taking milestone pictures like I did with my firstborn.
Oh yeah, firstborn. I remember. I
went out
to like oranges and straws and things. Secondborn, I'm like, what's that? Who's got the time?
Okay, so what's your big win? What has been your big win?
My big win this week has been that I left the house this morning, and the children are putting up the Christmas tree.
Oh.
It's almost Christmas.
Yeah.
In their mind, Christmas is tomorrow. And I have tried very much to not get into the Christmas mood, because the farther away from Christmas you set up a tree, the more you'll spend trying to decorate it. Because you realize how maybe old your decorations are, what decorations you're missing when you go to the supermarket. Like it brings it to, right? So this morning they insisted, and I remembered with the first one when we put up the tree, and even with the second one during Christmas, it's like, oh, they're going to destroy it, they're going to do. And this morning they were like, Mama, can we put up the tree? I was like, oh, yeah, of course. And they had their hats on, they had the tree up, and I left them decorating. I'll come back and we'll put up the star. And I think we're good. We're good.
Oh, wow.
Growth.
I've been trying to debate if I want to put it up with my son. I just feel like he's going to come down with the tree, man.
I mean, you have to put up the tree at some point.
I don't have to.
Well, depends with how much you love Christmas.
It's okay.
Okay. So what's your big win? Clearly not Christmas.
Yeah, not Christmas. I took my son for his first swimming class.
Oh.
It's something that I've always wanted to. I wanted to do this year. So I'm so glad I finally did it. Towards the end, but better late than never. He did so well. He was so excited.
It's amazing how children love water.
Yeah. He really was so happy.
Did you do it in a normal pool or a heated pool?
A heated pool.
Okay.
But it was outdoors.
How was that experience?
He loved it.
Yeah.
Well, removing him from the water was battle.
Oh, when I took my daughter the first time, it was like I had to hide because she would cry. about being in the water, and then at a point now she's a fish.
Yeah,
Literally.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait
so
for him
glad
to be
for
like
him.
a competitive swimmer. So I'm low-key hoping. I'm gonna be going for the swimming galas and stuff.
So you have to keep, going with the swimming.
Yeah. I'm excited. Yeah.
Great. So
I was a
what are we
pretty good swimmer as a young person, so
What about now?
I still am, but I just don't swim as much as I should.
Yeah.
I swim like once a year
Well,
when I go on holiday.
it's better than not
Nothing,
swimming
right?
at all. Yeah, I learned how to swim as an adult actually after when I took my baby for the first classes. And I was like, I'm gonna spend an hour here anyway.
Yeah.
So why not, get in the water and learn? And now I actually enjoy it. Yeah, I do enjoy swimming.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So Lynette, on today's topic,
Yes. What are we talking about?
let me start with a question. Have you felt like motherhood has changed you? Like, have you felt a shift in your brain, in your personality, in who you are?
Yes,
as a whole.
a big shift.
Yeah.
A big shift. I can't remember, and we'll talk about this, but I can't remember who I was before children
Yeah.
in as much detail
Yeah.
as I do now. And I know I'm definitely a completely different person. Pre-babies and now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, me too.
Uh-huh.
Me too. And I didn't know there's a term for it.
What's the term?
Maternal neuroplasticity.
Whoa, very big words.
Right?
What does that even mean?
So I did my research and I discovered your brain actually changes when you become pregnant. So it starts from pregnancy. Your brain actually changes. New neurons form. Parts of your brain shrink.
Yeah.
And it's not a shrinking in a way that it's negative. It's a way to make your brain efficient, to focus on what's important for that season, and that's raising your baby. So yeah, maternal neuroplasticity is a changes in your brain to prepare you for nurturing and protecting your kid and just preparing for that season. So I found it so beautiful and so
Right?
interesting. Like, wow, God's
When I
design.
tell you, women are magic.
Right?
I mean,
Like,
can you imagine like your whole brain just shifts and your body knows to create space for the things that matter and
Exactly.
to reduce the space for the things that
Exactly.
don't matter
Yeah.
in motherhood.
Yeah.
And the first time I came across maternal neuroplasticity was, of course, when you're overreading and over-informing with, your first baby and you get to, do all that. And just learning how things, not just the brain, but even how the hormones change in, response to that as well, to kind of prepare you for this thing. So you're not externally creating this change.
Yeah.
It's a change that happens. You
Yeah.
just one day are like, these days I'm more patient, about things that I would ordinarily, be snapping and and losing my patience about. But then you find yourself just being sometimes more accommodating. And some people go to the opposites. They're less accommodating as a defense mechanism to protect, themselves. And knowing that your brain and your body can actually do that is magic.
It's awesome.
Yes.
Like, wow. Amazing.
Is there
For me,
something for you, that changed and you were like, this has made me a better person?
Yes. I've become so much more empathetic. Before, I was not a very empathetic person. But ever since I had my baby, my firstborn, even a cat. I could say to you, the time I saw a cat, and it was just going about its business. It's just doing its meow. But I could honestly tell you that the cat is crying. And I started giving the cat food. I'm like I just took nyama from my plate and gave it food.
Yeah.
I'm like, who is this person?
Yeah.
I could not be bothered about
Yeah.
cats, about pets, nothing. But that motherhood instinct just kicked in, and I'm like, I want to protect this animal. I want to protect this baby.
Yeah.
I'm more empathetic to people's stories. I cry more when I listen to people's stories. I think empathy is one thing that has really changed for me. And another thing is, I used to see life as very black and white. Like it's either black or white. There's clear lines.
There are clear lines.
But I've started to accommodate for, it could be gray. It could be a blurred line.
There's space for the grays.
Yes, exactly. I've created space for the grays. So yeah, that's motherhood for me.
That's so interesting. I think for me, it's also, the empathy and understanding of people's situations. I think before I'm generally a very scientific person. It's ones and zeros, and it's, I like you, it was very clear-cut lines of how things should be. And now I find myself, telling people, you don't understand why people make decisions. Just leave them alone.
Yeah.
You don't understand why, someone chooses to do the things that they do. You would be like, why does someone do this? Don't they know that it's going to have this impact?
Exactly.
Like, does that for me, in fact, the questions I ask sometimes are, does that person have children or a child? Then I know that their mind might be wired differently, and they are making this decision in sometimes a very defensive way.
Yeah.
Sometimes people react in a very defensive way. I think for me, the thing that also changed was I have no space for people who are not kind. Like before, I would be like, whatever.
Yeah.
But now, if I realize you're not being kind to a child, you're not being kind to just a fellow human being. In one of the previous, episodes, I talked about how sometimes I see people being kind and I can't even cry. But I realize you're not being kind. In my mind, I'm like, you're generally a trash human being. I don't have time for you. I don't have space for you. I don't have to deal with you.
Yeah.
So I think for me, those are the things that have changed, that I like to surround myself now with people also who are more understanding. But is there something that has changed in you that you're like, maybe that could have been better?
I would say there's a bit of rage that comes with motherhood and the postpartum period. No, okay, well, I'm saying a bit, I'm underestimating it, but you can really get angry.
Yeah.
Like the tiniest of things. Like the other day I was taking my son to hospital for his clinics, and the guard was just saying, I don't know what he said, but he just irritated me. And I could say I wanted to come out of that car and be like, just shut up.
Yeah.
So small things really irritate me. I feel more deeply, and sometimes it can feel very destabilizing. And also for even people around me, particularly my husband, right? Because he's the one who gets the most of the emotions, right? So you feel very, very emotionally unstable. Like you can't even control your emotions some days,
Yeah.
Some days you wake up, you're sad and you can't explain it.
Yeah.
You're like, wow.
And everyone has to accommodate the sadness.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And sometimes just even don't want to talk.
Yeah. That is so interesting.
I don't know if you've experienced the same.
Yeah, no, I totally. And for me, it is, I kind of think about it as more impatience. I'm more impatient right now, or post-children, with people not doing the right thing. And the right thing is subjective because it's the right thing according to my definition.
Yeah.
Now I catch mistakes more. Now I look at, for instance, at documents and I'm like, how did you not realize this is missing? Or how did you not realize that this was not done? Or even just people around me, you'd be like, how did you not think to do this first before this? Because down the line it would have these implications. Before as much as I have said I'm a bit more understanding, I'm also a bit more impatient because sometimes I'm like, if we do it right the first time, we don't have to repeat it. And I think because I'm more cautious about teaching my kids, that doing things the right way. So when I see, especially adults, not doing things the right way, then there's a part of me that feels like that can easily be transferred to the kids. And then they want to do things the right way. And then now we have to train them. Like for me, we need to set the best examples at any given time. And there's a time, actually this year in April, I was traveling and I was at the airport. And I remember as I was walking, there was this kid who was really screaming. And I didn't look at the kid. I could just hear. And I wondered, like, why is this child crying so much? And everyone around her just looked calm, including her mother.
Yeah.
because no, I don't think it's one of those things you hear a child crying and you assume, okay, they're throwing a tantrum, and you see the mother is coming like, yeah, she's fed up, she's done, she's tired. You're at an airport, there's nothing you can do. You know, if you forgot your stuffy in the hotel or at home, there's nothing we can do about it now. We're here. It's done.
Yeah.
And then as I walked close enough, I think the mother also realized that the girl's leg had been stuck. Was it a leg? No, it was a hand. Her hand had been stuck in between those benches at the airport. And the mother started screaming. And everyone around was just calm. And it was so confusing for me. And I remember just running towards her. And because her mother had realized what was going on, she was screaming. She's trying to pull her hand. And I also instinctively, it just occurred to me she's in a scared moment.
Yeah.
She might not do it right. I just pushed her aside. And I calmly, because maybe it wasn't my child, I calmly carried her and to a position where I could pull out the hand.
The hand, yeah.
And I held this baby and I held the mother and I handed her the baby and I walked away. And I remember being so mad at the people who were closer to them because everyone just, and I don't know if I understood, because maybe she was of a different race and sometimes people get very scared about approaching or trying to help. But for me, that moment of this needs to be solved and it needs to be solved the right way and it's done and moving on has kind of been one of in that neuroplastic formation. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing of a more results and solution oriented.
I think it's the efficiency part of it, right?
Yeah.
It's the efficiency part of it.
Yeah. Let's be efficient. So for me, my impatience is, why are you guys not being efficient? You know, if we do this right, we'll save an hour and we can go
save
watch TV.
Time, exactly.
Or
spend time with your kids.
Exactly. So for me, I keep remembering that story whenever I think about what I have now become, which is let's just solve this. It's a problem. Let's solve it. Let's move forward. Kind of thing. But I don't know.
I was just thinking to myself, if our brain, if by nature, when you get pregnant, your physicality changes, your brain changes literally, then people don't come at me for this, but then the old system of women taking care of kids, then it made sense when you think about it.
It does. And I think I've been listening to a lot of, I consume a copious amount of content around social development and children and the role of women, really. And I guess, and I don't know if that's what you're saying, but for me, it's it's a thing that we have suppressed in favor of capitalism.
Yes.
And there's a doctor, I forget her name, but I'll get it, who talks about the impact of daycare.
Erica Commissar.
Must be.
Yes.
On
she
children.
Was a stay-at-home mom for some time. Yes. She has I think two kids. Yeah.
Yes. I think
it's called Erica.
Three kids.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love her content.
And
oh my word.
Luckily, in most African countries, you can find help very easily. And I think in the nannies episode we talked about, one of my conditions for a nanny is someone who has had kids, because that formation has happened and they have that kind of understanding about raising children. But for me, it's there's a way society has really changed in favor of two-income households, in favor of women can do it all, in favor of the song that comes to mind is Dolly Parton's "Working 9 to 5,"
Yeah.
that and for me. And I, as I say this, I'm also being careful because of I'm speaking from privilege in the sense that I'm able to work from home. I'm able to bring my children along to anything I do if I wanted to.
Yeah.
But then I think it's a conversation that needs to be had.
I think so.
Yeah.
Oh my word, yeah. I agree with you. Because if your own body is changing, then there's something there.
Exactly.
That it means that when you don't provide spaces where women at work can also be a mom, then you are literally taking away from them.
Yeah.
And it becomes a societal problem, you know?
And for me, I think it's also the issues around, especially the West, where you have like, is it 2-week maternity break?
Yeah. Is it 14 weeks?
No, it's like
in the US.
No, it's not 14 weeks.
6 weeks.
It's 6 weeks.
6 weeks, yes.
And
crazy.
like,
at 6 weeks, it just barely heals.
Yeah. What are you going to do? You know, and for me,
and there's no help.
The one thing I look at is, with all this, and I've been wondering about this, government, if you're listening, think about this. But with all these jobs exports to the UAE and to Saudi and stuff, why can't the US government and we in Kenya, like the Kenyan government, come up with a program around more affordable childcare where you can have like a live-in nanny, for example? Because taking a 6-week-old baby to a class, you know, environment with 12 other children is a lot.
It kills you.
It is. I mean, I can't imagine my children being out of the house and for them to be in. And I know it's a society that's the formation that they're used to that. There are countries where, is it in Denmark or whatever, where kids sleep out in the snow.
Yeah, you know, the Norwegian countries.
And I'm like, not my baby. So, but I've always wondered, like, I'm sure there's a way to support those communities.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's because someone benefits out of things not working. Yeah. So it's not going to change unless we as the women try and change it.
That's true.
Yeah.
Another element of neuroplasticity, I think, is what we call mommy brain.
Of course.
Which is forgetting things.
Yes.
And your brain changing. And a more recent experience for me has been that since I lost the baby, my brain blocked out large memories. You know, like a disk was erased.
Yeah.
And and maybe now I have come to appreciate that it's maybe the body and the brain or it's the brain trying to protect the body, or the other way, or both ways, from the trauma. But I forgot details about things. Like I would meet with people, my friends, and they would tell me like, yeah, you know, like last year when we met and had this conversation, and I'd stare blankly like, what conversation? I saw you last year? When? How did that happen? Like my brain completely blocked out things.
Yeah.
And it is scary. It's very scary because then in the case of when you have a baby, it's always like, oh, I know it will come back at a point. And for me at this point, there's a bit of that, like, will it come back? Will it actually, you know, will that memory come back? Or the plasticity of the brain, like going back and remembering things and stuff. And that was a big one for me when we're talking about this topic, which is the thing we joke about as the mommy brain, where your brain kind of blocks out things to make space for things you actually need to remember, versus it blocks out things because there's things you probably don't. Did you experience any of that?
Of course. From when I got pregnant.
Oh wow.
Yes.
That was a long time.
But it happens, the pregnancy brain as well, right? Because it extends into motherhood, into postpartum period. And it's caused by, you know, like the hormonal shifts, the sleep deprivation that you have, well, once the baby comes. Also, people don't sleep when they're pregnant, but I do anyway. But yeah.
Lucky girl.
Yeah. Sleep deprivation that you experience, the mental load of preparing for that season with the baby. Of course, your brain will just have to be like, girl, we're going to have to shut down some areas and focus on others. And I don't think mommy brain is necessarily a bad thing, you know,
No,
because
I don't think so.
it's just refinement. It's just your brain helping you to focus on what's important, and that's your baby, you know. I think it's nature's way. We can also say God's way of protecting a generation, you know, protecting kids, because they can't fend for themselves. So the adults things need to change on the adult for them to be able to fend to the baby. So, oh yes, I've experienced mommy brain. I forget things. Like when I'm talking to you and you disrupt me, you say something in the middle of my sentence. Yeah, I just forget that.
Like now?
Yeah. Like I literally will not remember what I was going to say.
Train of thought.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, that one I've forgotten. Yeah. And then the times I want to tell my nanny something. And so what I usually do these days, when I remember something, I say it then. And I tell her clearly, or I tell anyone, I'm not telling you for you to action now. I'm just telling you because
out there.
I will forget. Yes. And this is an important thing that I don't want to sleep. So I usually just say it before. And then now I leave the burden of remembering to you, because I cannot rely on myself. I cannot.
And I really
at all.
like that, because I think I got to a point where, like with the other two kids, I trained myself to say, if I have forgotten, then it's not important, then I will leave it. And like you, also get into that practice of, if I think about something, I say it. And then, but if I'm trying too hard, you know, to remember something to say it, then I'm like, it's maybe not as important right now.
For sure.
And I think it's also because we live in a world where just generally human beings are juggling so many things. So even creating that space to be kind to yourself, to say, I'm going through mommy brain. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's a thing that is trying to protect me as I'm doing this. You know, to be able to grow this baby, it's important that I also slow down. And that's something I have come to learn the hard way. There's a movie called Lucy. It has Morgan Freeman. So
I think I've watched it.
And
is Lucy an AI?
No, Lucy is not an AI, but she
Lucy?
takes some drug that is,
okay.
you know, equivalent to the kinds of hormonal shifts that are needed in the body and the energy that it takes to develop a baby. And it's kind of just, I don't know if that was the goal, but it kind of just shows you what happens when you're growing a baby and the amount of energy to even grow bones, to grow, you know. And when Lucy takes these drugs, like, she gets into this world or state where she can transform and disappear. And she can read your mind. She can, you know, and it was very much like, so it's a bunch of scientists who are like, this is, you know, the level of energy it takes to grow a human being. And if that was bottled into a drug and given to an adult, like, you start using your brain, like they say, I think you use about 20% of your brain function. And the entire movie is what happens when your brain function is at 30%, at 40%, at 50%, to where Lucy gets to a point where she's using 100%.
Oh wow! I think I need to rewatch that movie.
And she disappears.
Wow!
You know, she completely, like, when you're using 100% of your brain, you completely disappear. So think about, like, creating a baby from sperm and egg to has a brain, eyes, can see you, can recognize you, can laugh, can you know. So anyway, so it's a very fascinating movie that for me, it's that, like, how the body really changes because of the changes in the environment, but in Lucy's case, because of a drug that she's taking, you know, in the use of the brain. So your brain shuts off, and I do believe you use a lot more of your brain when you're a mom than when you're not, because then there's a lot more than you need to accommodate.
Yeah, you need to multitask.
Yeah.
Actually, I think that's also part of maternal neuroplasticity, that you're able to multitask, do several things at a go. Yeah.
The fact that you have to be thinking about these little humans and remember yourself and remember, you know, and it's just so fascinating.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know we're talking about changes, and someone would maybe wondering, do these things just happen automatically? But it's just hormonal shifts. Because the human body is just literally chemicals, right? When you think about it, it's actually quite crazy. Like, it's chemicals, it's hormones that control you, control your thinking, control your view of the world, control what is produced, what is not produced. Literally, it is chemicals, hormones, right? So when you become a mother, you have the oxytocin, the bonding hormones, so you're able to bond with your baby, you're able to nurture them, you're able to know this cry is for this.
Yes.
Crazy.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think for me, and I like that about the cries, where you hear your child crying in the other room, you listen and you're like,
no, they're going to go back to sleep.
Yeah. If it's an older child, like, that's a cry for attention.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Like, okay, that child is hurt. Let me run. Or that is hunger. And
you can literally tell what each cry is.
Exactly.
It's awesome. It's so nice.
That reminds me of a few years ago, you would hear like good catering schools and restaurants is where like a waiter can hear a piece of cutlery fall, and they don't have to look to know that it's a fork or it's a spoon or if it's a knife.
They just know.
That they just hear and they just come with the right thing to replace it. I don't know if that happens anymore. But
and the fact that when you hear your baby cry, you want to look for, you automatically know. Somehow you just know. I know it usually doesn't make sense before you have a kid, but you just know what your baby needs.
Yes.
Which is amazing. Like, you just hear them cry, you're like, I think you need a diaper change. Oh, I think you need a feed. Oh, you're sleepy. Like, you're able to tell. And I feel like this is not something that you can know before you get a child. And that's why I always tell first-time moms. I think I've also reduced in giving like advice to first-time moms unless they ask. Because at the end of the day, you actually know. Like, when you get there, you will know what your baby needs.
Yeah.
You just need to lean in more on yourself. You need to just be able to trust yourself.
Because you also need to train that part of your brain.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm just like, just relax. Just leaning into the experience and you'll just know. Because your body is wired to just know. It will work out in the end.
And interesting that you talk about first-time moms. One thing I've noticed as well is it's also for adoptive parents that the neuroplasticity is not just for and I don't know how true this is anyway for all adoptive parents, but then I have seen from those that I know that they also get to know these things.
Yeah.
That your brain just as a mother shifts and, whether the baby is yours biologically or not. But then when you're in that space where you are the mother, my sister has adopted, a baby. And you can tell. Like,
and does she have a baby previously, her own, or
no,
just
no. This is her first baby.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the brain actually changed when she adopted
exactly.
the baby.
Like you can tell. But she's also been an auntie for so long. As I've mentioned, I have 17 nieces and nephews.
Yeah.
So you can tell like how she behaves around the baby, and when like the baby is in her presence, the things that she does, you would think like the experience would be more not as natural, for example, as someone who's actually birthed the baby, but then you can actually see
it's
like
learned.
she knows. Yeah, it's learned one way or another, and that's why I like the point that you've made around. It's difficult to tell someone if you hear versus that this means different things, because different babies are also different. So it's good for people to allow that experience to happen to them, because then it teaches them.
Exactly. Actually, when you said about the different kind of cries, I remember there's a chat I saved on my Instagram about different cries and what it means. So this time with my second one, I was like, let me try and follow this thing. I even forgot about it. And I couldn't actually tell a clear difference between the two cries. I can tell when my baby is hungry, when he wants to sleep. I can tell by their cry, but it doesn't fall within that range of cries that is prescribed. Yeah. So I think you just need to learn your baby.
It's completely different. Like even my firstborn when she's crying, she's not as loud. She's more expressive on her face.
Yeah.
So, and you can tell, like, when she's in pain, she doesn't, the sound is not as loud. My second born, on the other end, she could be looking at you straight faced and she's crying, and she's very loud.
Yeah.
Like, her attention cry is extra loud. I don't even remember if my first one had, that attention cry, but this one is like extra loud. But when you look at her, there's an expression in her face, you're like, yeah, that's attention. And versus this one is actually in pain. So even siblings have different ways of expressing that. So it's very difficult to advise like someone.
Yeah. You're talking about adoptive parents, and I also remembered that you can even trigger milk production as an adoptive care parent.
Yeah.
I saw that in a movie and I was like,
isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Like how
you
that
just need
actually
the baby
happened.
to latch and your body will be
there's
like,
a
oh,
way.
there's a baby. We need to work. We need to get into work.
But there's medicine that you can take for that.
Yeah.
The same way that you have medicine for like
the milk suppressor.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean like stimulating
exactly
the prolactin?
stimulating,
Okay.
Yeah. It's quite interesting. I guess what the human body and science have been able to achieve over the years, and it's quite interesting just how the body is also agile in adapting to different situations when there is a baby,
when it's needed.
It's needed.
And have you experienced mama bear tendencies?
That's
like you
me.
get very aggressive when someone comes at your baby.
That is me. I remember there's a time, and I don't even know if this is the right example, but I'll give it anyway. We were at a restaurant, and there was this couple that was sitting across from us, and so the guy came over and said, "Oh my God, your girl is so beautiful. Hi, baby." Just the normal, like, "Oh, thank you." And then he said, "Can I take a picture of her?"
Uh-huh.
I was like, "Step away. Step right away."
Yeah.
I was like, "Why do you need to take a picture of my child?"
Just look at them.
Yeah, you can just look, like, keep that memory in your mind. And I'm always like, I'm maybe overly cautious, and I think we've discussed part of this before around my kids. I am a complete mama bear. Like, I am you're not allowed in anyone's house if I don't know the parents.
Yeah.
You're not allowed out of my sight. Like, there are very few places where my kids can be without adult supervision. And I think there is of course history to that, but then and sometimes I question if I'm overdoing it, but I'm definitely like a super mama bear. I have to see my children where they are, and I have I'm not comfortable around strangers.
Yeah.
And for that reason, I'm not comfortable when like parents force their kids to give adults a hug, for example.
Yes. Yeah. And even though that adult is their uncle, their grandparents. Even if my kid refuses to give me a hug, I'm like, it's fine.
It's okay.
It's okay.
I'm not going to force this on you, because, and I say especially for, and I know it's a thing that we do, like, but that's your uncle, that's your auntie, give them a hug, go say hi. And I say, but they haven't seen you in months. So what's this expectation that we have? I've known you for decades, but then this child has known you for 4 years, and they haven't seen you in so even when they mix up names and stuff, we actively teach them their uncles' names, their cousins, their grandparents and stuff. But I don't force my children to have any physical contact with anyone.
I agree with you. Yeah. You need to respect their no's.
Yeah.
Because that's how they know how to create
even
boundaries.
When we tell them no, that's how they will know.
Yeah. Because no is actually creating a boundary.
It is.
And we need to respect their boundaries as well. And they need to learn. That's how they learn, right?
Yeah.
They learn how to create their own boundaries, because you don't want your kid to be put in situations where boundaries are crossed, they're in danger, they're in harm, etc., etc. But I've also experienced that mama bear thing. I remember with my first kid, it took me such a long time to let the nanny handle them. And even to some extent, even with the dad, because I felt like I'm the only one who can do it right by my kid.
Yeah.
Nobody else can. But I forget that, the dad is also a parent. I mean, with the nanny, I can get it. But with the dad, I'm like, yeah, he's also a parent. He can figure it out, kind of thing. But that mama bear instinct just wants you to protect your kid. Whenever I hear my son cry, I get so anxious. I'm like, oh my goodness, what is it? What is wrong? How can I help? Is it something that is about a clear-cut no? Or can we flex it, kind of thing, so that he stops crying? I remember there's a time recently we were having a conversation with my hubby. And whenever my firstborn is with him and he's crying, I'm always like, babe, what's wrong? What's up? But he doesn't like it because it makes him feel like he's less of a parent. I don't trust him. Yeah. But then I told him, okay, I get what you're saying, but please don't expect that I won't ever ask. Because you actually don't understand how I clam up when I hear his cry. Like, my brain just goes on flight or fight. Like, who do I need to fight to protect my baby, kind of thing. So I was just telling him, like, nah. Your experience as a dad and my experience as a mom is totally different. And when I'm asking you, it's so that I don't trust you, just that I want to solve whatever is causing his cry, so that I don't have to hear his cry anymore and I don't have to be so anxious the entire period of time. But it was like, okay, fine, I understand. But just trust me. I'm like, I'll try.
I'll try. No, I totally get that. And in part of how your brain changes, and maybe I would say for me it's, I feel like I'm the only one who can do right by my
kids.
Children.
Yeah.
Sorry, husband. But there's for instance, I might get into trouble for saying this, but I will say it. My husband has never changed a diaper ever.
No.
And I have no interest in him changing a diaper, because I'm like, I feel like I'm gonna come to be like, was it done the right way?
You're gonna start inspecting.
I'm gonna start
quality
inspecting.
Control.
So I'm like, I'm the QC queen. So for that reason, I'm like, I will change it.
Yeah.
And because I have these steps that I take. And maybe, my biggest fights with my mother are always like, you did not cut those onions right. And now I understand her. It's like, but they're going to go into the pot and they're going to be cooked. And it's like,
you won't see the shape anymore.
Like, what's like, no, you cut them this way.
Yeah.
And I used to think she's a micromanager until
you became one as well.
But there's a bit of that, like, and maybe part of that mama bear is like, I have girls, and I'm like, the way you clean them has to be a bit more delicate. The number of times you change a diaper has to be a bit more delicate. Like, I could be sitting on the other side of the room, at the other side of the room, and I'm like, that baby has pooped, and my husband is like, where? What? So I'm like, for that reason, I feel like I'm the only one who can understand the things that need to go into, for instance, changing a diaper or doing some things. But the one thing I know is I have had that fight as well of, what's up? Why is the baby crying? I think it was actually at Christmas, and it was the three of us, I'm in the other room, and they're in the other room, and the baby, and I ran in, and he was like, I'm here with her. Like, I'm like, but she's crying. Yeah. Like, why is she crying?
Yeah.
And he's like, just go back.
Yeah.
We're fine.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, the first time they were being, what's the other word? Not punished, but
disciplined.
Yeah. And I have to go and close my eyes and my ears, and I'm like, I don't want to hear.
Yeah.
And what all my husband has to do is say no. And tears are flowing, and and I have to say 100 no's and a pinch. But But when I'm disciplining,
You're okay with it.
yo,
Me too. In fact,
I'm
when the baby cries because of me, I'm like, this is fine.
yeah.
Someone
I-
else.
I know how hard I went.
Yeah.
So I know you're not. There's the Swahili's saying "Teke la mama halimuumizi mwana."
Mwana, yeah.
Yeah, it's saying a mother's heat. That's kind of it cannot injure a child.
Yeah,
Although of course we've
because you know
seen,
the
like,
extent.
Yeah, you know the extent. We've
Look at
seen that
us,
it can
gassing
go
ourselves up.
overboard, so that's not excusing it. But it's when I'm disciplining my child, I'm like, and in fact, sometimes I'm like, cry even louder.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Because I know. But my husband, I'm like, how hard
Did you have to do
go?
that?
Did you have to? What did
What
she
did
do?
what
What is
yeah.
it that was done that warrants
That crying.
that crying?
Do you think the discipline equals the extent, the crime that they did?
But
Yo.
then me, I'm like, listen, I will do everything, So it's quite interesting. Also,
Yeah. But I think it's important to note that as much as this maternal neuroplasticity is protective, it's good. I think under stress, it can actually lead to more serious issues. That's where postpartum depression comes in. That's where postpartum anxiety comes in, extreme rage, because the body's going through all these changes, but then there's no balance. The cortisol is way high. The stress hormone is a bit more. So it causes a bit of an imbalance. So I think it's important for moms to manage that as well. And that looks like, getting support from people, asking for help. I don't even know why we think we can do everything as women.
I think though, let me
you need
ask
to ask
you.
for help.
Let me ask you.
Go ahead.
Should mothers ask for help actively, or do you think society needs to reformulate such that society is around women?
It is both.
Help?
It has to be both.
Yeah.
It has to be both. The environment needs to be conducive such that the help is already given, even when it's not asked. And that's why, when we come to the nuclear family with the dad does those things that the mom can do, but he can also do. Like if it's washing bottles, if it's changing the diaper, well, your case is a bit different. If it's bathing the baby, those things don't necessarily need the mom. So the mom can get more rest. So it's that, creating that environment. And also for you as a mom, when you feel overwhelmed, ask for help, right?
Yeah.
If you want to get an extra hour of sleep or two, give someone else a bottle to do it, So it has to work both ways. There has to be the right environment, community support, systems in place to support the mom, but also the mom needs to go that extra mile and ask for help, because people actually don't know. People can't read your mind.
Yeah. No, that's very true.
Yeah.
That's very, and maybe because I grew up in the village, so I just saw like communities, come around and help and support women. But it's true that, where we're at now as a society, women have to learn to ask for help.
Agreed.
And also, women have to learn to accept help. Because the other day, someone sent me a message and they said, this was something I had forgotten, but something I think we've also talked about on the podcast about some of my practices. But she said, one day I found her sitting somewhere in a corridor and I offered her a chair and I said, let me get you a chair. And she said no. And I insisted and brought it to her and lectured her that, when a stranger offers you help as a pregnant mother or a pregnant woman, you
Accept.
take it.
Yeah.
Not for yourself sometimes, but so that stranger can take it forward and say, because if you tell me no, I'll see another pregnant. I'm like,
because that's how you build culture, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And the good practices.
Yeah.
If it's
So
done over
for
and
me,
over.
it's the accept, let people take care of you. I know it's difficult, especially with your first child, when you feel like you're the only one who can. And this is just to say that me changing a diaper was not a big deal otherwise.
Yeah.
But when people are offering to help, let them help.
Agreed.
Allow them
Agreed.
to help, because as you say, that's how you literally lose your mind, because you're trying to do everything.
It's a lot.
It is
It's a lot.
You're trying to produce
lot.
milk. You're trying to take care of a baby. You're trying to stay alive. You're in a society that says you need to start snapping back. There's just all these things, chemically, physically, externally,
That are happening
to you.
And it's a lot.
As one person.
Yeah. You definitely need to accept the help. You need to seek it even sometimes if it's therapy that you need.
Yeah.
If it's just a friend that you want to talk to. Even you can tell a friend, like, you know what, I don't want advice. I just want you to sit down and listen to me.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Don't even talk, just listen.
I think we need to do an episode about friendships in motherhood.
Oh my gosh, Lynette, are we thinking about the same things?
Okay,
Because literally, I was thinking the same thing.
So we will.
We
because,
do.
Because even having the safety of friendships where you can say, come over. I'm the kind of friend, if we are not like super close, I give you about a month or two before I even come to see you and the baby. Because I also know like some people love their privacy and, I don't want to be a bother. But if I'm close to you,
At the
I'm
hospital.
moving in. I am there.
Yeah.
Because I remember like my sisters with their babies and stuff. Interestingly, a lot of my very close friends don't have babies.
Yeah.
But there's one who has a baby who I'm in labor. I'm headed to the hospital now. Who was, the first person to come over when, I was losing, my third baby. So there's those levels of friendships where like, I remember I was sitting with her and I'm like, I'm feeling a contraction. Like, I need to download this, and like, yeah, no, download that one and stuff. And like, well, how you feel it? Like, it's that close. But then there are, other friends who it's like, I'll give you this space.
Yeah.
But I'm here if you need me and, when you need me and stuff. So as to also not overwhelm.
That's true.
But I think, people should seek help because there's a lot going on.
Yeah. I think that's the line between you going crazy, getting depressed, and you enjoying
And it can be
the
bad.
experience of motherhood.
And unfortunately, when you go through those stresses, sometimes you lose things like milk. And then
it's so crazy. I sometimes even ask God, like, why did you make us like this? Why is it that a small thing that stresses me causes my milk to dip and my baby can't get food? Like, couldn't those things just be independent from each other? Like, how stressful this period is. Why?
But I guess and I guess that's what we've lost as a society. That understanding of how delicate that moment is and why, and maybe this will force us to kind of try to get back to that.
Yeah.
Although I doubt with the formula industry if that will, but that's a story for another day.
Hey,
but
opening a can of worms, girl.
But it's just for me always a reminder of what's important and what's not, because if like having that knowledge that a small little thing like these bottles were not washed well, why now I have to stress about this, and suddenly this baby looks like they're not fed, and suddenly you're stressing over it cascades into all these things you have to think about. Maybe just reminding women that it's a very delicate moment, and sometimes just let it go. Just let it go, because that moment, and it becomes a loop. I'm stressed out, I don't have milk, and now I'm stressed out about not having milk, so
there's more stress and more stress and then less milk and less milk,
and before you know it, you're like, is ugali so bad? Maybe you need to start eating ugali. So I think for me it's kind of that reminder that the brain in a woman just generally works in a very interesting way.
It is very interconnected.
It's so interconnected, and kind of a reminder for moms to please keep your stress levels at the
At low.
minimum as
Yeah.
much as possible. Unfortunately, we live in a world where you can't live in the vacuum of Zen and be like, my role here is to take care of the child. My before we even get to unpopular opinions, but my very unpopular opinion around this is how, there are communities, and it's a thing that I have curated for myself. For example, I don't do anything for 40 days. I am in the house. I'm just there and just taking care of myself and the babies, and but then you see someone has given birth, and like a week later they are in heels and out here.
Why?
And I'm like,
Sit your ass down.
I don't care if you're getting free formula. Like, just go back to the house and take care of yourself, But I might have segued into kind of a closing tradition here.
Yeah.
And while I do have another unpopular opinion, maybe let's start with you. What's your unpopular opinion this week?
Loving your kids deeply doesn't mean that you love all the phases that they go through. Those regressions, girl. The teething. The toddler stage where they're screaming their heads out. The tantrums. No.
I think by now someone should have documented all of this. There should be a manual somewhere out there.
Right?
If you've written this manual, dear listener, could you plug it somewhere, for mothers? Because what is regression and tantrums, terrible twos, and everything?
No, I'm calling them joyful twos.
Oh, see, Washuka is already...
Joyful twos. Yes.
They are too
Nothing
excited.
terrible. Nothing terrible about the twos. Nah, nothing.
Yeah. No, but I totally agree. I totally agree. Sometimes children, as beautiful and amazing as they are, could go through some stages where
that really gets
you
to you.
Are questioning.
Why did I have kids?
Why?
Were they a must?
Yeah.
Did I need to be a mother?
Look at what my life was before.
Yes.
And now.
Oh.
But they are the best. They are amazing.
They are precious. I wanted to say before we go to the unpopular opinion is, I feel like right now motherhood is my whole identity.
Yeah.
And I don't mind it. I love it.
These days I introduce myself as I'm a mom.
Yeah.
I'm gonna update my CV actually. I'm just gonna be like, I'm a mom.
And that should be enough, right?
Responsibility. Like I have human beings.
Yeah, I take care of human beings.
I take care of human beings.
Organizational skills on point.
Right? Sleep
Timekeeping.
schedules.
Come on.
They're fed.
Yeah.
They
They're
went to the
happy,
bouncy
they're
castle
thriving.
the other day. Like I can be fun.
Yeah.
And I can also be very logical. Survival and everything.
Agree. And not yours.
Mine is going to be the most unpopular thing I have maybe said yet. There's just too much cologne going on in our environment. Thinking about neuroplasticity and the fact that we have now been educated that perfumes and cologne and things are endocrine disruptors and everything. You can't get into a taxi now without like being like this.
Bombarded by smells.
I feel like perfume has become too cheap.
Yeah. No, I mean, the Arabian perfumes, is that what they're called? Yeah.
I remember.
Arabian perfumes.
When I was in high school.
A few pennies, you have a bottle.
When I was in high school, we used to have that very little bottle.
And you go refill in towel.
and you just like roll it, just a few,
dabs, yeah.
Now we have high influencers on Instagram and TikTok, layering like 5 perfumes.
Body mist,
all like
lotion,
full cabinet,
shower gel. Hey, come on.
Yeah, so my unpopular opinion is honestly, there are too many scented things. And it's amazing that when you find something that is unscented, it's more expensive. Like it's more expensive, think about wet wipes for the babies. I only found these ones which were like dry wipes. Yeah. So the dry version of wet wipes.
Okay, and then you just put water.
And then you just put them in water. They're not in the shops anymore. They were also more expensive than,
the wet wipes.
Exactly. And I think there's just too much perfume, too much scent, too much cologne going around. and it honestly needs to stop.
I honestly am with you because like today my hubby put on perfume and I was just like, why?
What's going on?
Why? I didn't need to smell that. Like perfume, my roll-on is now scented. So even when I put my lotion, I'm like, this is too much.
Right?
This is too much. I'm like, I need to have a solution
In
with
fact,
no
you
scent
introduced me
to the deal.
to the deal
Yeah.
that is unscented
Yeah.
because I had really struggled to find something that is unscented that worked.
That works, yeah.
And then it worked until it stopped, unfortunately.
I have
Because
another recommendation.
Post baby,
Yeah.
I think with hormone changes, the bacteria moves different.
Yeah.
But I now got a mildly scented version of the same, like from the same brand, and it works really well. But that's the only scented thing
That you have.
that I have.
And lotion.
No, even my lotion is unscented.
Oh wow, which one is that? Shea butter.
No. It's called Alba. It's just unscented lotion. It's this big bottle, and it's vegan, vegetarian, you know, and it's just amazing.
Yeah.
Even for my kids, we use unscented everything.
Even what's it called? Detergent.
Even the detergent is
No
like,
fabric softeners.
no fabric softeners and everything. But anyway, that's my unpopular opinion. Come for me in the comments.
Yeah.
Share your opinions about what we have shared today. And Mama, what's your experience with neuroplasticity and how are you dealing with that? And with that, I think see you next time.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
It's the politics of motherhood.